And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I am all alone now, but it doesn't matter because you don't really need many people to talk about what happened in the previous games in the NBA. So that's exactly what I'm going to do in this segment. I'm going to give a quick recap of all the games because I'm sure not many people were paying as much attention to the NBA games as they were to college basketball. So that's going to be like the main that's going to be the main focus of attention throughout the madness of this month and going into like who wins the NCAA tournament. So expect to see a lot more college, and there are games that are going down right now as I speak, which I am not watching for some baffling reason. I need to pull that up on my computer ASAP. But before I do that, I'm going to do a quick recap of all the games that happened last night, all the NBA games, So first on the list, I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid right now. The Milwaukee Bucks completely owned the Brooklyn Nets, so yay me, another reason why I need to be upset and sad. Not just my bracket messing up, but now my team is messing up, but like they've always messed up, really. Let's see. Mikal Bridges. Oh, he finally dropped 20 points. It only took him like 5 games. Ended the game. Oh. He ended the game 9 for 19, 6 of 14 from the field. This is very, very bad shooting coming in from Bridges. Claxton ended the game with 22 points, 9 of 12 from the field. Cam Thomas ended the game 8 for 17 from the field, 21 points. Cameron Johnson ended the game 6 of 13 from the field with 17 points. And Dennis Schroeder, who we decided to trade for, ended the game 2 of 9 for 5 points. Yay! That's always fantastic. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, ended the game 1 of 7 from the field. So, yes, you guys can totally understand why I'm really upset just looking at this. This box score is pitiful. Like, Schroeder played 34 minutes and only ended with 5 points, so yay. Let's look at the Bucks side. Damian Lillard, he ended the game with 30 points and 12 assists. So, obviously, and Giannis was playing this game, so yay. That's always good. That's a good sign for the Bucks, just beating on a bottom-of-the-barrel team with Giannis and Dame, always great. And they only won by 7 points, by the way. So maybe there needs to be a little bit more concern with the Bucks still, and their potential of making a deep playoff run. But I digress. Giannis ended the game 21 points, 5 assists, 9 rebounds. Malik Beasley ended the game with 16 points, and Brook Lopez ended the game with 17 points. Now, Bobby Portis, okay, he did not have a good outing tonight, Bobby Portis, but really, when you have a great team like this, well, an above-average team like this, they don't really need the production of Bobby Portis, and there is somebody in Crucial PG, again in the chat, okay, let's breathe, 9 of 19 is one shot under 50%. Yes, I get it, but this is Mikal Bridges. We thought he was going to take the leap in being the face of this team, and so far he has not done that whatsoever. He has done the exact opposite. His production went down, his shooting went down, everything went down, and this game is not helping the Nets win whatsoever. So it's like, And on top of that, the coach is also, ever since we got that new coach, we've been losing. But then again, the Nets have been losing without that coach, so I don't know what they need. I don't know what they got to do now. I really don't know what the solution is. Maybe sell the team back to New Jersey so that way they could just be a New Jersey team. They had way more success on New Jersey than they ever did in Brooklyn, but I digress. So nothing really much that needs to be said about this game other than the fact that it was close, and it's a little bit concerning for the Bucks that it was close because, again, this team is just not the team that I thought it was going to is just not as good as I thought it was going to pan out. And they face the Thunder this Sunday, so if you guys are not watching March Madness, you should probably tune into that at 7 o'clock. And we will see just how good their performance really is against the Thunder, against a team that is also competing for a very good spot. But, yes, so blow up the roster. Gone. Everything. The franchise, gone. Sell it back to New Jersey. Crucial PG in the chat, it says, there is no fix. Okay, hold on. Because I have to scroll up now, and it's not letting me scroll up. Okay. There is no fix. Y'all could have traded Bridges for 5 firsts and and Dorian Finney-Smith for 2 more. Yeah. We don't have a really good. The Nets don't have a really good history for trades. If you guys don't remember the Paul Pierce trade, the Nets decided to trade for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and those picks decided to be, guess who? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So, yay, Brooklyn just showing how great. Oh, and you can't forget the trade for Ben Simmons, right? You cannot forget that trade whatsoever. But I digress. Let's move on before I just absolutely lose my mind. It's been nothing but L's for New York in the NBA. The Knicks lost to the Denver Nuggets 100-113, so that's always fantastic. Nikola Jokic, triple-double, obviously Mr. Triple-double, the king of it. He is the best player in this league, MVP without a doubt. 30 points, 11 assists, and 14 rebounds. He does this on a daily basis. It's like, you can't stop him. And Michael Porter Jr. with the funniest stat line of all time. 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 0 of everything else. 0 assists, because as we know, Michael Porter Jr. does not pass the ball. He shoots the ball. Shooters shoot. He shot 3 of 16 from the field. 3 of 6 from 3. 13 of 16. Jesus, excuse me. I said that very badly. 13 of 16 from the field with 31 points. Very, very impressive shooting coming in from him. Jamal Murray, 9 for 20 from the field, 23 points. Not bad. It was decent. I mean, you don't really need to produce that much when you have your other 2 options produce just as much. And there was nothing that really needs to be said. I mean, when those 3 players have a great game, when they have 20 or more, it's really difficult to stop them. And let's just see, looking at the Knicks box score, Josh Hart did not play every single minute of this game this time. Ended playing 36 minutes with only 2 points. So, definitely could have used a lot more production from him. Brunson ended the game with 26 points and 9 assists. Isaiah Hartenstein ended the game with 20 points as well. And DiVincenzo ended the game with 11 points. And Hartenstein shot the best from the field. It makes sense. He is a center, so he is expected to shoot very well from the field. But Jalen Brunson, he could have shot a little bit better from 3, which would have probably put this Knicks team in a better spot to win it. But I digress. They're a very difficult team to beat, the Denver Nuggets. They swept the regular season series against the Boston Celtics, who are the best team in the Eastern Conference. So, again, I hope that we see the Knicks go into the finals. If there's any team that gets into the finals, I really hope it's the Knicks. Or the Orlando Magic. And I'd say that because the Orlando Magic ended up beating the Pelicans in a blowout win, 121-106. And, again, no real media coverage coming in for the Orlando Magic because I don't know what there isn't to cover. Paolo Banchero ended the game with 20 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. He is really, really good, and he's one of the best sophomores in this league, and he gets no media attention. I really don't understand what it is. And he shot 50% from the field as well while getting this triple-double. And it's his play style, it's like a mix of Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. That's sort of what this mix is, in the sense of, he's a very good mid-range shooter, and he could still do, all these other things on the court. He could pass the ball, and he could rebound the ball very well. And let's see, who else played really well? Jalen Suggs ended the game with 22 points. Again, another player that doesn't really get that much media coverage. I saw him on Gonzaga. He was an absolute hooper. That man could get buckets. And let me just see how he shot. Also shot 50% from the field. 7 of 14, 3 of 8 from 3. And who else had a very good game? Franz Wagner ended the game with 18 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Very dominant win coming in from the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Zion did not play very well this game, only 20 points, 7 rebounds. As Stephen A. Smith would say, he was eating a table. I have no idea what compelled Stephen A. Smith to say that about Zion, but that was absolutely outrageous. And CJ McCollum, 6 of 12, 18 points. One of the most underrated players that the NBA has seen, in my personal opinion, is without a doubt CJ McCollum. When he was on the Trailblazers, obviously he wasn't getting that much attention because he was on the Trailblazers and he was playing with Dame. But he was like just as good, and if not sometimes better than Dame was, like in the playoffs especially. When in 2019, when the Portland Trailblazers, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, they had to get past the Nuggets in order to do so. And it wasn't Damian Lillard who closed the game out. It was CJ McCollum. And again, doesn't really get that much attention from the media with it, and I don't understand why. He's also never been selected to be an all-star, and I think this is the only one of the very few players who's kept an average of 20 points in every single season and didn't even get selected to be an all-star. Like, he's ridiculously irrelevant when you're looking at a lot of these games. And Zion as well. We talked about it in the previous segments, how like irrelevant Zion has been according to the media, and I really just don't understand how, when they can do all of these things, and it's not like CJ isn't flashy, because he is flashy at times. Brandon Ingram ended the game 7 of 12 with 14 points. They need a lot more production from their 3 best players if they want to do anything to make a deep playoff run. And losing to the Orlando Magic, not a very good sign for the Pelicans, but still. Orlando Magic. And Crucial PG was in the chat saying knee injury, out for 2 weeks. Yeah, he did get a knee injury, but regardless, still, I feel like he should get a lot more recognition when we're talking about CJ McCollum. I feel like he should get a lot more recognition going into not just right now with the Pelicans, but just in general. I feel like he might be their closer. If Zion's not playing well, I really think he might be the closer. And Crucial PG's telling me that he got hurt last night. Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, they're probably not gonna make a deep playoff run in that case. So with that in mind, let's see where they stand right now. I am very curious to. Hold on, let me see. Oh, no, it's Brandon Ingram that got hurt. Even with Brandon Ingram hasn't really gotten that much attention either. When you think about it, I'm just looking at the report right now. We don't really hear much about Ingram. We heard him when he was on the Lakers a lot. But now that I think about it, no one on the Pelicans really gets talked about. Am I crazy to say that? And I don't really read much. I see a lot of media posts and things of that nature, but when I'm looking at Ingram, it's or when I'm looking at Zion, or when I'm looking at CJ, there's not much media attention. Am I wrong to say that? When Ingram was on the Lakers, he was always being talked about oh, he's going to be one of the best players in the draft. He's going to be better than Tatum, things of that. But now that he's on the Pelicans, and it's not like the Pelicans are doing bad. They're 5th in the West. I don't hear him whatsoever. Is he just playing bad? I don't think he's playing bad. The averages show that he's not playing bad. So what gives? And it's the same deal with Paolo. What gives? What gives with this weak media coverage? But they would rather talk about, playoff Jimmy Butler. Really? But I digress. And well, that's an upset. The Wizards just beat the Sacramento Kings 109-102. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at the standings right now. And, okay, so they are still the worst team in the Eastern Conference, so that checks out. The Kings, however, Sabonis ended the game 14 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Again, pretty good. It was a very good performance coming in from Sabonis. De'Aaron Fox ended the game with only 25 points. I expected a little bit more points coming in from him just because of how weak the Wizards' defense actually is. 10 for 30 from the field. Yeah, he definitely should have scored more points than just 25. And 5 of 15 from the 3. The Wizards, they ended... Oh, Kyle Kuzma had a game. Kyle Kuzma had a great game. He ended the game with 31 points. Let's see, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's back in the starting lineup. I guess their team is really that bad. They have to put Poole back in the lineup. And 5 for 11 from the field, 14 points. Again, you guys know my opinions on Jordan Poole. Like, really, really, really bad. And, like, definitely not the player that I expected coming in from going to the Washington Wizards. Now, just scrolling up just to see if I missed anything in the chat. Zion does get he's saying, Crucial PG in the chat saying Zion does get recognition from the media, but it's just fat jokes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, when you only hear bad things about him, but when he's actually doing well, we never hear anything about him. And even, like, it's so odd. Like, but, you know, everyone always has to mention LeBron, whether it's good or bad. And, like, speaking of mentioning LeBron, I just did right now. But that's, like, the only good example that I could bring, because that's sort of what it seems like every single time. Like, we get LeBron. And while I am a LeBron fan, sometimes it does get a little bit odd how the coverage is just focused on whatever the heck he does. Like, he could be eating a taco, and it's just like, oh, need to watch him eating a taco or something like that. Oh, he could be sitting courtside. Gotta pay attention to him sitting courtside when Zion is dropping like 30 points or something like that. Like, it's weird how the coverage works, but I digress. So, again, the Wizards, they're not going anywhere. The Kings are going somewhere, however, and the fact that they're losing to these bad teams is definitely, like, it's not a good look. And they played the Orlando Magic going into tomorrow. Orlando Magic. I have the Magic winning this matchup. And, like, the Kings right now, they are the 8th seed in the Western Conference, and they look to be playing in the play-in tournament, like, in the play-in rounds. They just replaced the Dallas Mavericks, and I think it makes more sense for the Kings to be in the play-in than Dallas at this point, because, I mean, Dallas is just absolutely owning every single team that they've been playing with. Luka's been phenomenal, and I'm going to quickly speed through the rest of these games because we are running out of time. Speaking of Dallas just beat the Utah Jazz 113-97. Luka Doncic ended the game with 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. Kyrie Irving ended the game with 16 points and 7 assists. Not going to be that harsh on Kyrie Irving considering how it is Ramadan and he doesn't really eat that much during this time. So all power to him. The fact that he's able to play this much and still, like, play at an elite level. And it's the same amount of respect that we give to Hakeem for doing it, we should give to Kyrie, in my personal opinion. And Daniel Gafford ended the game with 24 points, only missed 1 shot. He's like the new DeAndre Jordan / Blake Griffin in the sense where he catches all the lobs. But looking at the Jazz side, again, the Jazz they're rebuilding. And I knew they were going to be a rebuilding team after they traded Kelly and Olynyk and all those other players. They definitely need this rebuild. And they're just going to lose. They've been losing a lot of games recently. Right now they're 12th in the Western Conference. There is a possibility that they make the play-in, but I don't think it's worth it for them. And it is worth it for the Houston Rockets to make the play-in, however. That right now the Houston Rockets, they sit 11th in the West, and they look like they could take Golden State's spot if Golden State continues to be regressing in terms of team play. Now, speaking of Houston, they ended up beating the Chicago Bulls 127-117, and Jalen Green ended the game playing 40 minutes with 26 points. Fred VanVleet ended with 9 points, but was able to rally 12 assists. And Dylan Brooks ended the game with 23 points, and he got ejected, so he was only able to play 25 minutes. But, I mean, is there really, like, I don't want to talk much about, like, his ejection, because, like, is it really a surprise to see that Dylan Brooks got ejected from a game because he was fighting? Like, I really don't think there's really much to talk about. Aaron Holiday, a player from the bench, only played 18 minutes, but ended up getting 15 points. And Jacques Landale Landale, forgive me if I botched that last name, ended the game with 17 points and 12 rebounds. So a very good double-double coming in from him. And there's not really much that needs to be said about this game other than the fact that, both of those teams are fighting for a play-in spot. So both of them, they really need to start winning. And let me just see. The last game on this list is the Suns going up against the Hawks. Now, the Suns ended up winning 128-115. So there is that. Devin Booker ended the game with 30 points. Looking at Kevin Durant. KD ended the game with 19 points. And Bradley Beal ended the game with 12 points. So the big three doing big three things, obviously. And Eric Gordon made an appearance on this box score, scoring 21 points. Now, in 24 minutes as well. Obviously, the scoring on this team is the best thing about this team. But again, no defense, so I'm a little bit worried. But you really don't need that defense when Devin Booker is shooting 10 of 15 from the field and getting you 30 points. Very difficult to beat a team that shoots that well. Eric Gordon, 8 of 11 from the field as well, 21 points, 4 of 6 from 3. Kevin Durant was the only one on the big three that shot relatively efficient, getting 19 points on 5 of 15 from the field. And Bradley Beal, definitely he's not been the same 30 points per game scorer that I've seen when he was on Washington. Only 12 points, 4 of 7 from the field. So, that's usually what's expected. You have to, sacrifice in order to allow your other stars to be great. And, the Phoenix Suns as a team, they shot 55% from the field and 53% from three. And it's very difficult to win when you're doing those kinds of things on the court. Now, Corrido MVP is in the chat. What's up? KD not going to be on Suns much longer. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know what's going through KD's head right now. If they end up losing, then I could totally see him leaving that team and trying to get a ring somewhere else. But he might stay on the Suns. But who knows? I really can't tell with Kevin Durant. He goes to the team that he feels is going to give him the easiest chances to win. That's his character. That's just what he is. And it's I have no idea whether he's going to stay or whether he's going to go. As a Brooklyn Nets fan, I thought he finally he turned a new leaf and he wanted to start anew with help, obviously. I don't really expect him to carry a team by himself because that's just too much to ask for anyone. There's nothing wrong with getting a little bit of help to try and win an NBA championship. But when James Harden left and he was I want to join Phoenix, literally the team with the number 1 record in the West, I'm okay, he hasn't changed a bit whatsoever. And I just don't get it. I really just don't get it with him. Corrido MVP, he says Kevin Durant and Devin Booker kind of hate each other. I don't think that's the relationship. I really don't think that's the relationship that they have with each other. They're both bucket getters. They both want the ball in their hands, and they both want to score a lot. So when you look at that and when you think about that, it's very difficult to share the ball amongst each other. And I don't think they really hate each other. I really don't. I genuinely don't. If anything, I think Kevin Durant doesn't like Kyrie Irving because of the time that he wasted on Brooklyn because of Kyrie, just for Kyrie to request a trade. But we don't know. We don't know exactly what's going on the inside. Says Suns Corrido MVP in the chat. He says a lot of Suns podcasters been reporting that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant had arguments on who should be the first option and whose team this is. Yeah, that's the ego part of both of them. And it's I wouldn't classify that as hating each other. I just classify that as who's going to be the alpha, because that is a genuine question. Because some nights it might be Devin Booker leading the team. Other nights it might be Kevin Durant leading the team. So again, wouldn't be surprised if that is what eventually pushes Kevin Durant out, because Kevin Durant is very, very soft. For being a very tall man, he's very soft personality. And that was one of the big reasons why he left the Golden State Warriors, because at the time with when he was winning finals MVPs, people were still calling, and the media was still calling Golden State Stephen Curry's team. Because let's face it, it was Stephen Curry's team. Stephen Curry just allowed Kevin Durant to do what he wanted on his team. But I digress. So that was sort of like the reasoning, part of the reasoning as to why that was part of the reasoning as to why Kevin Durant decided to leave. But with that, that's the end of the recap. We are out of time for this third segment. So join in for the fourth segment where I talk about the matchups in the NCAA that are going on right now and the odds on like which team has the best chances of winning. And also, since there are people in the chat, I might as well go ahead and answer some questions that you guys have while I'm paying attention to some of these games. So I will be right back after this short break.